Show podcast. I'm your host, Britt. Today we have episode number 82 with Miss Carla in the building. This episode is called the Mental Health Awareness Month. We are in the month of May, and I thought it would be the best to speak to somebody who is a professional, who knows what she's talking about, and can definitely give us some insight on what's going on in the mental health world. So I do want to introduce Miss Carla. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fine. TGIF.
Yes, absolutely. What a week.
Yes. Do you have a busy
I
weekend?
I had a busy week. I don't really have that busy of a weekend. Well, actually, yes, I do. I have a birthday party tomorrow.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well, you look pretty for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm so excited that you're taking the time to speak to my audience in regards to mental health awareness. I think it's very important, especially in the month of May, but not just in the month of May, every day.
Mhm.
I think we deal with it silently. And now I feel like the world is starting to talk about it more, accept it more, but I know that it's still a stigma, that some people just don't want to go get help. And so I would love for you to introduce yourself and let us know a little bit more about what you do.
Okay. So my name is Carla Litzy. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I have a private practice actually located in the Woodlands, Texas. My practice is called Purpose Restored Counseling, where I work with individuals, couples, families from all backgrounds, all socioeconomic statuses, just promoting and advocating for mental health and wellness.
Okay, I love it. I love it. How did you get into this field?
Actually, I got into the field when I was in undergrad. I was taking psychology class because I was originally a nursing major.
Okay.
And when I took the psychology class, something in me just, I don't know, it was like a spark. And I was like, "Ooh, I love this. I love figuring out how people think, why they behave the way they do, just understanding all of that." And so I changed my major and decided to just continue on that path. So I ended up getting my bachelor's in psychology, and then I went on to get my master's in clinical mental health counseling.
Oh gosh, I love it. It's crazy because your background is a little bit how I started as far as with nursing. I got all the way into the nursing program and actually dropped out, and then well didn't drop out, got kicked out because I just partied too much and them grades dropped. So so they let me go, and now that I'm in this personal development stage. I'm getting closer to the Lord. I'm just excited about psychology and how people think and how the subconscious mind plays a role in so much that we do that we don't even know it, that we can program ourselves for unlearned behavior if we actually do the work.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I'm actually excited about that. When we talk about mental health, what do you feel like are some modern life things that are affecting our mental health in today's world?
So, just as it relates to modern life, I think technology affects it. um, Technology has advanced tremendously. And so, what I've seen is that it'll have a positive and a negative effect on your mental health. In a negative aspect, you can get in the habit of comparing yourself to others because you're scrolling social media and you're looking at, what this person's life looked like and measuring yourself to theirs and feeling inadequate. So that can bring on like some depression or anxiety in this false reality to like perform to someone else's standards because you're judging yourself off of what someone else is doing. Um, and so that's the negative aspect that it can have. But in a positive aspect, there are a lot of influencers and content creators that do promote wellness, mental wellness, and things of that nature. And so I say that it can be a blessing and a curse. If you're following the right people, looking at the right things, then it can have a positive effect on your mental health. But if you're looking at all of the things and you're internalizing it and um, using it in a negative way to, put yourself down because you're not where someone else is, then it can have a negative effect on you. Um, but again, another modern aspect is just the work stress.
Yes.
Um, that's another thing that I hear a lot of, because since the pandemic and going back into the office, the world has started moving again. And so a lot of people have taken on balancing, home life, the stressors at work, the pressures of meeting certain demands and things like that. So that plays a role in the just the modern aspect of mental health,
I
chaotic
love.
lifestyle and all of that. So there's a tons of things I can kinda go into as it relates to that.
No, I love what you hit on because I said Carla gonna go there. I know you were gonna go there when we was talking about social media because I feel like that plays a big role and it definitely can have a negative and a positive effect on your brain, on your mental, not just the
Mhm.
younger adults, but us too. It's crazy because sometimes you get so consumed with social media and you can be following the wrong people thinking like you said this false reality. They have all these followers, their life's so much better than mine. I have 1,000, they have 1,000,000, just trying to compare when you really don't even know what they're going through on the other side. I've been in shoes like, I've been set in, I'm not gonna say big celebrity seats, but I have been around people that have like big followers. And then when you get the background story, you're like, girl, like
Yeah,
and so I really do feel like it's really what you're watching, what you're eating every day, what you are consuming in your mind. I think that was a great point that you picked out. And then as far as with the pandemic, I was one of the people that when the pandemic happened, they let us go home.
mhm,
I worked at the time, I worked for Wells Fargo. I work for Chase now, but at the time I worked for the bank and I was so happy because I was in the mortgage department. I was like, y'all could just let us go home. Y'all are just micromanaging us. We can do this at home. And
right,
it was just, but what it did was it put, like you said, a balance on me, on my home life, and then also my outside life, just balancing that in my mind because I don't want to go in the office all the time.
mm,
But I do believe that there should be some type of balance because I do believe that you need some type of community just to see outside of what you have going on in your everyday life as
exactly,
far as as far as it deals with your health.
exactly.
When it comes to, and oh yeah, I didn't tell y'all. So I know Carla. Me and Carla met in the Her Say Two mentorship. We both are members of the Lighthouse Church. Carla, I've been in Texas for probably about 2 years. So the Her Say Two mentorship was my first engagement with the church,
Mm,
and I just took to it. I still keep in contact with my mentee, just touching bases here and there. It was a lot. It was definitely different, but I am so thankful for meeting like-minded women like you guys. I didn't realize it was so many of us in Houston that are not from here.
right.
So but thank you for coming on the show and just being a part and allowing me to have you on here. So
Absolutely.
as far as with mental health when it comes to like the black community and some of the things that you see that we deal with, what are some things that you notice that we struggle with that maybe others don't?
Honestly, it's stigma. it's still a stigma around the just treatment for mental health, and it's trust. You know, we've been taught to not trust people, don't tell anybody your business, don't let anybody in. And so it's breaking down that wall to say, you know what? It's okay to talk about your problems. It's okay to talk to someone that is a trusted source. Like there are people and resources available to help you. And so if we can break past like the stigma that comes with it, um, no one's trying to judge you, no one's trying to label you, you know, or anything like that. And so that's one of the barriers I see in our community. I also see sometimes it's like an access to care. We don't know how to use the system. We don't know how to properly navigate it. We don't know the proper terms for the professionals in the field. You have therapists, you have psychologists, you have psychiatrists, and one of the main stigmas I see is people will say, "Oh, well, I'm not crazy. I don't need medication. I'm going to the crazy house," and things of that nature. And it's not always the case that medication is needed. Talking to a therapist is just talking about your life and talking through problems and making a plan to live better and be well and be whole. A psychiatrist, on the other hand, they deal with the medication aspect. They are, you know, trained professionals that can prescribe medication for any of the conditions you may be experiencing. And then a psychologist, on the other hand, while some of them can do therapy, they are also trained to diagnose and assess. And so um, just properly understanding who you're seeing in the realm of, you know, just the different offices that you may go to, and understanding how to access care is a big deal. Cultural competence is another. Sometimes we have therapists of, you know, different backgrounds, and some people in the Black community may not feel comfortable seeing someone of another culture because they may feel like they don't understand,
Mhm.
or they can't relate to their issues. And so it's important to know where to go and what to look for when you're seeking a therapist. And I'll provide some resources later on how to access that.
Yes, I love that. That's exactly what I was going to say because a lot of us, as far as in our community, the Black community, that was the first thing you said, is just being self aware,
Mhm.
not knowing the difference of what type of therapist, whether you're dealing with pain management or, just needing somebody to talk to or even just trust, that goes back to our history. Like back then, we were taught not to trust the doctors, and then it's just uh, how sometimes they treat us. I've seen it. I've felt it as far as in therapy. I can honestly say that I am in therapy. I've been in therapy. I just keep a therapist because I feel like that balances me. But I have had the therapists that are white or a different color, and I've had black ones. And for me, I can say I think it's just who I'm vibing with because yeah, I've had both to where okay, I've had somebody our color that's just like I'm not feeling you. You're not really. You're just sitting here, and you're not giving me any tools. I need you to engage with me. You're just kind of just. I know I'm on your time, and I get it, but I just didn't get anything out of her. And so I think that some of the things that you're hitting on, as far as what we know and what we don't know, is a big thing. Being self aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then as far as with depression and anxiety, I speak on that a lot because on my podcast I talk about mental health. I'm always talking about healing the inner child and some things that we can do to do that. When you're focusing on depression and anxiety, are there any tools that you can give? And I know we can keep going and going and going, but if you can name like either one or two things that people that are dealing with those two big issues, what is something that you could tell them?
I'm an advocate for what I like to call brain dumping.
Okay.
Um, Oftentimes, our sleep is disturbed by our thoughts. We can't sleep at night because our thoughts are racing, our minds all over the place. And I feel like it's essential to just do what I call a brain dump. Keep a notepad and a pen next to your bed, or if you're not comfortable writing it out in like a notebook or a journal, put it in your phone. We all have, like, if you have an iPhone, you have like the little notes section in your
Mhm.
phone where you can type things, and that's private for you. But I like to say, just write it out. It doesn't have to be perfect and complete sentences or anything like that. It's just whatever's on your mind. Just write it out. Get it off of your mind. And so it can be one word, short responses, but just brain dump. Get it out. Find a trusted friend to talk to. If you don't have a therapist, if you don't have access to that level of care, have a good circle of support. Your support system is who you build. It may not always be your family. It comes from what you're able to build. And so, if you know that you have a trusted friend that you can confide in, talk it out with someone. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable and transparent. I always say ask for what you need because uncommunicated expectations can't be met. So,
Yes.
is something that you're struggling with, talk it out with someone. Write it out. Go for a walk. Listen to music. Music always puts me in a better mood. Um, and so those are just some practical, easy go-to strategies that I believe help with like depression and anxiety.
I love it. As far as those things that you said, do walking, listening to music, I think those are very therapeutic. I do it on a daily basis. I feel
Mhm.
like people need to make this like a lifestyle. It's very it's something that, especially if you're dealing with it, it needs to be a part of your routine to where you can see a difference if you said you put something on a notepad, you're journaling in the morning, or you have a prayer life. How has your prayer life for you, Carla, helped you as far as with your mental health?
If it wasn't for prayer, I wouldn't have a life, right? Like I I just believe in just pray about everything before I even go talk to someone. Sometimes we're quick to run to people with our issues instead of taking it to God. And so I do wholeheartedly believe in talking to God about my concerns, casting my cares on Him, praying, and then waiting for an answer. Sometimes you have to sit still and wait on what it is He wants to say to you. But we're in this microwave society where we want it now. We
Yeah,
want it yesterday. And so I do believe prayer is essential. It does help. But for people that everybody isn't faith based, some people may say, well, I don't know how to pray. What do I
right.
say? You don't have to have an eloquent, um, elaborate, laid out prayer language. Just
Conversation.
talk. It's dialogue. Yeah.
hmm I love it. I love it. As far as if there was anything else that you could say to the audience in this, in regards to any resources that you could recommend for Mental Health Awareness Month, what would be some resources that you would recommend to the audience?
Sure. One of the resources I would recommend would be Psychology Today. That is an online website, psychologytoday.com. It allows you to go in and actually filter out specifics that you're looking for. You can look for a therapist of color. You can filter it out by your type of insurance, by the issue that you're coming in for, by region, by whatever zip code or what area you're in. It has all of those filters and features so that you can find someone specifically tailored for you. And most of the therapists have a bio on their profile, so you can read them and to see like who's a good fit for you. Another website is therapyforblackgirls.com. Another one is therapyforblackmen.com. Any of those, um, all of those actually are directories where you can look for local providers. Another resource would be a community mental health agency. Like if you struggle with access to care, or you may not have the resources or the finances to um, pay for therapy that may be affordable for you, there are some community mental health agencies that offer resources and free resources for therapy as well. So I would say look into those things. As always, if you're ever feeling suicidal, overwhelmed, hopeless, and um, just don't want to go on with life, the National Suicide Hotline, that number is 988. So that's another resource where there are trained professionals that you can access any time of the day, 24/7, 365.
Oh wow. Thank you. Thank you so much cuz I didn't even know that. So I'm intrigued to look into some of those resources, and I think that'll help people who are silently struggling, who don't know where to turn to. So thank you for those resources today.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I said I wasn't gonna keep you long, and I meant it because today is Friday. But before we leave, I do want you, if there was something that you could say to 14-year-old Carla, what would be something that you would say to her today?
Ooh, 14-year-old Carla. Let's see, where was I at 14? Um, I would actually say keep going and don't give up. Um, it's not about love or relationships. It's about life and being established and creating something that um, you're happy to be a part of. At 14, you're young and you're like, oh, I got this little boyfriend and this little thing. I think that I would say pay less attention to that and more attention to creating the life that you want to have. Because what you do in your teens definitely sets you up for young adulthood. So I would say chase your dream, chase the career, and focus on those things first.
Right. And that boy will come later. I love it, Carla. Thank you so much. I definitely was. It was an honor to talk to you today. I appreciate everything. I hope our girls get to meet soon. I would love it. I definitely would love it. And I'm going to go ahead and sign out today.
Okay.
Yes, this is episode number 82 with Mental Health Awareness Month with Carla Litzy. Y'all make sure you go like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We are signing out. You have a good day. Thank you. Thank you, Carla.